Hi, welcome back to the Leadership Help Desk, where we're just trying not to screw things up to begin with. Our topic for today is what makes a good job. Now, I've got several videos on different philosophies on how to make a job better, make it more satisfying. But here is Hackman and Oldman and the 5 job characteristics model. A very simple model on how to check to see if a job is it motivating, is it satisfying, or is it boring? So here we start with, we have skill variety, task identity, what the heck is that? Task significance, what the heck is that? Autonomy, I think we know that one. Feedback, I think we know that one. So we run a job through these 5 characteristics to see if it's going to be satisfying and motivating to the person. Now, we do have simpletons out there, and maybe you know these people. They're perfectly happy putting 2 wires onto a motor or screwing a cap on all day long. Remember, a workday is 28,800 seconds for an 8-hour day. Wow, 28,800 seconds. And if you're doing the same thing over and over, there's no meaningfulness. You have to do it a certain way, and you never get feedback. It's not going to be a very fun job. Now, some people enjoy simple stuff. They do. And with the job market as tight as it is, we might have to make jobs lean towards making them simple, job simplification, so anybody can understand it. If we have turnover, we can fill that position pretty quickly with little training. But over the long term, we want people to stick around and be satisfied with their job, be motivated. So starting with skill variety. Check the job to see if it requires more than one skill, more than one talent. Is there variety? I know it's a simple term, skill variety, but my favorite jobs, working at the airport, that was a cool job. Sometimes we had to stay in the same position a long time, but on the other hand, we were pulling up equipment to the airplane, the crew stairs. Sometimes we were in trucks. Sometimes we're just surveying the whole airport, cleaning things up, looking for lost things, organizing equipment, sorting packages. It was just so much fun because there was so much variety. In landscaping, when you combine that and working in landscaping, I got used to almost never being in the same place for more than, say, an hour and a half or 2 hours. In fact, when I would do general maintenance on somebody's property, I would limit it to 2 hours, because after 2 hours I got bored. I wanted to do something else. Now, when you have big projects, sure, you're going to be there for a day or two. But the constant moving around, doing different things, I thought was fun, and it was motivating. So we're looking for checking out the job to see if it's repetitive, if it's boring, if they're doing the same thing over and over and over. We don't want that. We don't want that. Task identity. Now, this is an interesting one. The percentage of the whole. That's the best way I can say it. The percentage of the whole. Does the employee only cook the French fries, or do they assemble the burger and the fry and the shake, right? So if you're only doing the French fries, you're only doing a small portion of the total job. If you're, say, in auto manufacturing, imagine the person who has to put on the left windshield wiper blade. You know, that's what we do. Hey, what did you do last year? Well, I put on the left windshield wiper blade on 40,000 cars. There might be some pride in there for some folks, but at the same time, for building a car that's not a big percentage in fact, it's microscopic, right? But then on the other hand, I've heard, and we've looked it up, that some engines are built by groups of people. So maybe 4 or 5 people actually built the entire engine. So that way the person identifies with more of the whole job. If you have built your own boat in the backyard, that's the whole thing. Hey, I did that. I didn't just do that. So we need to look at a job and, if possible, add to the percentage of the whole for the individual employee. Now, task significance. Is there an impact on others, and is the job meaningful? Now, I just mentioned this in another video with Herzberg, who also is looking at job satisfaction factors. But many times, people don't realize how meaningful their job is. Even a janitor keeping the room clean, yeah. I mean, that's meaningful, but it might not seem meaningful to them. You have to point it out. What about data entry? Well, sure. Some data entry will never be seen again, and it's probably not meaningful. But employees might see data entry as always being unmeaningful, and that's certainly not true, because garbage in would be garbage out, and that would screw up everything. So the accuracy of the data entry is very important to future decisions and retrieving information. So that job is very meaningful, but they might not see it that way. You have to point it out. Autonomy. Is there any way they can do it their way? Now, I know there's cases where things have to be done just by the book, but around the fringe of doing that task by the book, is there anything the employee can do their own way? Feedback. How did I do? A lot of times employees don't get feedback. Let's take a nurse, for example. Somebody comes in and they fix them, and then they think they fix them, and then they leave, but they never really find out if the person lived. What about a teacher, right? A teacher, they teach all this, cram all this stuff into people's head and get them to be critical thinkers and whatnot, we think. Then they graduate and we never see them again. So was all that time spent training them to be a better thinker, math, English, or they forget it all, So we have to look at feedback. So moving from job simplification to adding some meaningfulness, some variety, some significance can make a job much better. And the note here is redesign bad jobs if possible. How can we make the job, just because it's a job doesn't mean it has to stay that way, right? How can we add variety? Even if it's doing what about job rotation? Could we do job rotation? 2 boring jobs are better than 1. And also, there's training involved. It's a long-term thing, but can we rotate jobs, move people around just to add interest and variety to the job? One of my favorite phrases from a former manager who dealt with a group of 22 people who were occasionally complaining, oh, we always have to do that. We always have to. We were split up into 2 groups, and if one got the bad job twice in a row, here they come, right? Oh, it's favoritism and all of this. But his term for it was, around here we spread the wealth and we spread the pain. So if we can monitor this so we don't have favoritism or perceived favoritism, we balance, we have equity, spread the wealth, spread the pain. So the 5 job characteristics model. What can you do to improve a job? Why would you care? Well, if you want the people to stick around and not get bored, this is important stuff. Now, if you go back and look at the video for Herzberg and Maslow, you'll see that people want meaningfulness, they want achievement, they don't want to be stuck in a repetitive, boring job. And surely, to goodness, there's some way that you can make a job better, right? So, if you enjoyed this message, please click the like button, and most importantly, share it with others. I had this concept, along with Herzberg from the previous video, in class 30 years ago. It's been around forever. But how many people out there have never heard of it? Oh, you were hired to do this simple thing, deal with it, or just leave. Is that the way you want to be as a manager? Or do you want to cater to human needs and have happier employees that last longer? It's up to you. So, hope you enjoyed it. Share, click the like, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for your time, and I hope this helped.